Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Live on SABC 2. Now, this week in the Art Bulletin, we see Tumi Sedumedi bring us the latest in the world of art, culture, lifestyle, and design out of the studio. Here she is, very excited to be out and about. It's time for the Art Bulletin.
Welcome to this edition of the Art Bulletin. It's really good to be back outside. My name is Tumi Sedumedi and thank you very much for staying with us. Today we're coming to you from this innovative building that houses activations and promotions company, the Creative Council. And we start off in Maboneng Precinct, where an up-and-coming photographer broke new boundaries by working with people no one else would rather work with, like prostitutes, slumlords and gangsters. In his latest exhibition titled The Park, photographer John Wood displays work that came out of 6 months spent in Hilbo photographing junkies and their poisons of choice, like crack, heroin, right up to Nyaupe. The park is on at Maboneng Precinct, Rubik's Cube Gallery until tomorrow.
We set out in this project to essentially dispel the myths surrounding people that live on the streets in Hillbrown, people that use drugs, essentially. It's not an investigative piece in that we don't want to uncover anything. We simply want to tell these guys stories. You know, everybody has a story to tell, and often it's forgotten in situations like this. People just have a look at what's on the surface and they forget what's lying beneath. They forget about the person behind the stereotype.
What I like the most about it is that, you know, people can't unsee something. It's an educational piece, first and foremost. And I want people to look into the eyes of one of their greatest fears, you know, their heel-brow drug addict that they so fear. I want them to see them as people. And I think when they walk into this space, people can now look that person in the eye and they can see the human side of this.
The Imbali Visual Literacy Project's Curio Shop, based inside Museum Africa Newtown, is hosting a book exhibition. The exhibition hosts some interesting reads that are based on a political landscape published by Jack Kana, alongside the very book that profiles mega exhibition, The Rise and Fall of Apartheid.
It's a very important book. It tells our history. It shows you things that you would normally not see via the media. It goes into everyday people's lives. For us, being the 20 years of democracy this year, we felt that it was really important to be part of showcasing the history of South Africa through photography. It's a curio shop. It's got space to house us. It's got similar vibe that we have at Jacana, so that's why we chose to go with Imbali.
This week, the Rodiport Theatre opened their take on Disney's very popular and glitzy story of Cinderella. Loaded with fun, magic and glamour, we decided to catch up with director Jill Girard and find out exactly how they'll take you into that adventurous fairy tale.
A Cinderella is a story that pertains to every child, every person. It's the story of the poor girl who makes good through her own inherent goodness. And it's a story that inspires and thrills children and adults of all ages. The South African cast have been absolutely incredible. They're all quite young, and we have dreadfully ugly sisters who really mean an awful, a handsome prince. Of course we have a handsome prince, a beautiful Cinderella, and then we have the evil stepmother. And then we have the king, who's Thabo, and we have Sipho Hlongwane, who's been working at People's Theatre quite a lot, who's the comedy element. He plays the Duke, who's terrified of doing the wrong thing for the king, and the whole object is to find a princess for the prince.
Last weekend, South Africa lost one of its literary giants in Mbulelo Mzamani, who was once described by the late great Madiba as a visionary leader and one of South Africa's greatest intellectuals. Mzamani's books include Mzala, which came out in 1980, and Children of Soweto, which was published in 1982. May his soul rest in peace.
He was straightforward. His life was an open book. And for instance, when he was at Fort de Hare as Vice Chancellor, he was the only Vice Chancellor in the country that the students referred to with respect and love as Brambu. I don't think that has ever been the case in the history of our supposed institutions of higher learning. This sense of a history as a writer and the necessity of preserving our heritage. That is why he even established the research institute he established there. The memorial service is going to be on Tuesday evening at the State Theatre, at the Drama Theatre, where, in fact, the last literary thing he participated in at the Drama Theatre, at State Theatre, was a tribute to Ken Temba.
Do Agric. It pays. That's the title of a new campaign aimed at raising awareness about how agriculture can play a transformative role in uplifting African economies. That project uses over 20 artists from 11 countries on the African continent. Those artists who include Nigerian superstar Femi Kuti met in Johannesburg this week to record a track and a video for the awareness campaign.
What we are here to totally do is to let our youths know, to create that awareness for them to know how important it is for us to focus more on farming, more on agriculture.
I think this is the most important project I've done in my life because agriculture for me is the most important thing for human beings. So I'm very proud to be part of this and I hope it's going to be successful. I think our lives, everything, our future depends on this. So I think we all need to put all our resources, all our energy to make sure this is a success.
So for me, it was like an honor and a great opportunity for me to show that Mozambique, yes, is part of Africa, and we are struggling with the same problems. And with this song, with this video, like all the 20 artists, and just we make this one big, great voice that I can take to my country and say, yes, we are part of this. We have to work, and we have to make the politicians change their mind about agriculture.
His spoken word piece titled "I Will Not Let an Exam Result Decide My Fate" racked up to 2 million hits on YouTube. That's one of UK's finest spoken word artists, Sully Breaks, who performed in South Africa this past week during his campaign titled "Sully Breaks Around the World in 80 Days."
Sully Breaks is your average 20-something-year-old who kind of did everything right as a student, you know, worked really hard, and then ended up graduating in a position which most people would have envied, but then ultimately rejected that for a passion. He wanted to be what he felt was right for him to be, would be to follow his passion and make a success of it. So that's who Sully Breaks is. I'm no different from everyone else. I'm just a guy trying to make a dream a reality.
I mean, speaking of impact, I will not let my exam, decide my fate. Got so many hits on YouTube.
Yeah.
Did you anticipate something like that? Were you surprised at the reaction?
It's a mixed feeling because a lot of artists always say that they know they're going to be huge, because you have to believe. To be an artist is hard, you have to believe. But when it happens, when the reality starts to hit you, you're never prepared for that. When you start to see the views climbing and you start getting a message from Zambia, Afghanistan, all these places you never imagined, places where English isn't even the first language, it's a new experience, and it really becomes overwhelming. And you look at yourself and think, wow, just sitting in my bedroom, I've created something that has transcended and over oceans and genres, and it's touching so many people. So it's really overwhelming.
And what inspired it?
It's just a story of me, Sully Breaks, I spent so much of my life in education, and when I came out of it, I felt like a lot of the skills that I learned there were not applicable to what I was trying to do or how I was trying to be in life, and it really frustrated me. It frustrated me so much, and as an artist, your frustrations often create the most powerful art. So it was just that notion that it's not fair that some kids are going to be slaving away the same way I was, not really understanding how they're going to apply it in the real world. So I thought, if I can make 1 or 2 people look at it and say, okay, I'm studying this now, but I can use this like this when I'm older, or I can use that the world is so much bigger than the 4 walls or the 4 classrooms, then I think that would be my message. So for me, it was just getting that awareness out there.
Did you ever anticipate that it was going to be a campaign? Because, I mean, it's one thing to write it, and then it turns into a campaign.
I never anticipated there's going to be a campaign. That's one thing I can never anticipate. I thought there'd just be a lot of people who like it, appreciate it in the art form. I didn't think it'd become a movement. I didn't think it would take life as an idea the way it did. So that was something I didn't anticipate. I'm very grateful for, but I didn't see it coming.
How do you think South Africans will react to
I really don't. I feel as people, there's certain things that we can relate to across the board, and I think success and education is one of the things that everybody can understand, because society as a whole has one quite stringent view of education, whether you're in South Africa or any country. Education is viewed as going through the school system, the formal education. It's never really appreciated, that practical education. So I think South Africans will be able to relate to it simply because they have school institutions, which some may be good, some may be not as good, but they all understand the concept of we want to be successful and we want to educate ourselves within ourselves. So I think they should be able to appreciate that message.
The National Film and Video Foundation is inviting filmmakers who are participating in and are attending the 67th Cannes International Film Festival to apply for funding for the markets and festival attendance. The festival takes place between the 14th and 25th of May 2014 in France.
It doesn't matter whether a project is still in its script format or in development or production. We want something that is sellable, that is has a universal appeal. So what we do at the beginning of the year, we send out a call to say, here is a platform for South African productions to be showcased in a catalogue form that we take to Cannes. Or also the films that are also in the catalogue, we take them, if they have trailers, we showcase them in an event whereby we invite all these key people to see the trailers. But to apply for funding, obviously the cap is 25,000 rands. They apply to lerato@navf.co.za. There's application forms on our website.
And that's how we come to the end of today's edition of the Art Bulletin from the Creative Council out in Melrose. You do know that there's more where that came from, so make sure you catch us again next time. In the meantime, keep in touch with us and let us know what's happening in and around your art circles by emailing the artbulletin@sabc.co.za. You can also check out our Facebook page or follow us on Twitter. Until next time, it's a goodbye from us.